Hello, this is Margarita Monet from Edge of Paradise, and you are listening to the Metal Pit Podcast.
Welcome to the Metal Pit Podcast, where we delve deep into the albums and bands that shape metal. Please visit us on our website at www.themetalpit.org, and you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Metal Pit, and on YouTube at The Metal Pit 666. I have just started to add our podcast also to the YouTube channel, so you can just listen to the audio there if you don't use all the other places that you can listen to podcasts. And my guests today are Staicha, who is a contributor on the Metal Pit, and her friend Zach is joining us for our first three-person podcast episode. How are you guys tonight?
Great. How are you, Blake?
Good. Zach, how you doing?
I'm good. Just getting off a shift, but I'm good.
That's good. Now, let's see. This is Staicha's fourth episode with me, since I've been on every episode except one so far. And this is episode 18, I believe.
Wow.
Getting up there.
Yes, Staicha has been on three other episodes, and every episode involved a band that sang about hell and Satan and Lucifer and all that kind of good stuff. But the band tonight they're going to talk about doesn't really sing about that too much, but we're lucky because it has hell in the title of their name, so we're all covered with that. So
yeah, we'll give it a pass.
So we're talking about Helloween. And a brief little bio here. They formed in 1984 from Germany, of course. They're one of the most influential European heavy metal, power metal bands of the 80s. The first lineup consisted of Kai Hansen on guitar and vocals, Marcus Grosskopf on bass, guitarist Michael Wyckoff, and drummer Ingo Schwichtenberg. Sorry, these German names are a little bit tough sometimes. Kai Hansen left the band in 89 to form Gamma Ray, but of course he is now back in Helloween, but I don't have the timelines of when everybody came and went and left. There's now three singers in Helloween. And one's Andy Darris, and one is, of course, Hansen back, and Michael Kiske, who joined in 1988 for 87 for Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1. Now, tonight we're going to talk about Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. But first, I will ask both of you, when did you first hear of Helloween, or maybe hear this album, whatever came first? Zach, how about you go first?
So I'm a relative new guy when it comes to heavy metal. I didn't listen to a whole lot growing up, but about 10 years ago, for some reason or the other, I got the itch. And started out putting out feelers throughout the various subgenres. And when it came to power metal, it was, okay, Helloween, Gamma Ray, Blind Guardian, Stratovarius, go. So I was trying to be a little bit diligent with, like, hey, get the foundational bands in, get the important records in, and that meant Helloween, that meant Keepers 1 and 2. I probably would have started with Keeper 2, and to be honest, at the time, liked some of the songs, but for some reason, Helloween and Gamma Ray I sort of bounced off of a little bit and went more with Blind Guardian and Stratovarius. But I kept with them over time, and now I both recognize them and love them as the classics that they are. So, yeah, really about 10 years ago for me.
Staicha, when did you first start listening to Helloween?
Well, I'll start by admitting that my threshold for power metal is shockingly low. And Zach, I know you are my power metal friend. You are like who I go to if I want to talk about power metal. Helloween is just one of like 4 power metal bands that I really like. I think the way I discovered them, if I had to guess, was back when everybody was having unprotected sex with the internet and downloading stuff off of LimeWire. I just wanted to have every single Halloween themed song. So I know for a fact the first song I heard was Helloween by Helloween, which is on Keeper 1. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, it just was something that came up on LimeWire, and I was like, this song is the fucking best. And then I heard Dr. Steen and was like, this is also spooky. This is amazing. And then from there, yeah, I would have just downloaded the full 2 albums. So I don't know. I would have been in high school, I guess, when that happened. And yeah, I've loved, those are like perfect nostalgic albums for me ever since then.
Well, for me, since I'm older, which I say every episode that I'm on, but I had the first EP that came out in 1985, so I heard them right from the beginning. Now I'm not sure why, because of course we didn't have the internet, we didn't have music videos hardly yet. In 85, they were starting, but so I don't know why. But I just seen the cover with the smashed pumpkin thing on it and said, "Oh, I got to buy this probably," because I don't suppose I ever heard it before I bought it. I just bought it because it looked cool. And then those 4 songs also, they just put them on the debut album, Walls of Jericho. And that was with Kai Hansen singing. And that was a little more raw than what they did when they got Michael Kiske in to do The Keeper of the Seven Keys. Now, before we were trying to decide what album to do, 1 or 2, and I kind of let you guys pick the one. So you picked Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2 from 1988. So why did you guys pick this album to do?
That's pretty funny because so Zach and I were just at a bonfire together the other day, and we're having this exact conversation. And something I said, because I love both albums, I genuinely do. I feel like Keeper Part, well, with the exception of Helloween, because I don't care, that's my favorite song. But okay, removing that, that album has like, it's sort of like all 8s across the board. Every song is good. There isn't a bad one. It's a no skipper album for me, but none of the songs are really like a 10. Whereas Keeper Part 2, it definitely has some songs I'm not crazy about, but it has so many songs that are like 11 out of 10 for me. So for me, it just had more range. It had more ups and downs. The ups were higher and the lows were lower.
Yeah, and on this, I agree that to me, Keeper has like all-time classic songs on it. Or sorry, Keeper 2, which isn't to say that Keeper 1 doesn't have some great tunes on it, but again, being the power metal friend, like Eagle Fly Free to me is like the power metal song. If you want to summarize the whole subgenre in 5 minutes and 4 seconds, Eagle Fly Free. So like that sort of, if you have to, gun to my head, have to pick one, that to me just, it's 2, because it's got Eagle Fly Free, and then yeah, that's not even talking about all the other bangers on here, to say nothing of the title track itself. So yeah, I'm on the same thing, that even though 1 is a more consistent album, because there is a song on Keeper 2 that I'm fine with.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear what that is.
The highs of Keeper 2 are so much higher. And again, I can't stress enough that Eagle Fly Free is just like an all-time classic power metal song, classic metal song. And it's like, to have that, it's like, okay, that makes the call for me, where it has to be Keeper 2.
I feel like if Helloween were on this one, I would never listen to Part 1. Like, I do like Part 1, but I would just be like, nah, all my favorites are, I have to, like, Helloween brings me back to Part 1. I'm like, well, I'll listen to it because I want to listen to Helloween because it's my favorite song by them. And then, I'm there, I'm content and I'm happy. But yeah, it's, Part 2 is just like the best to throw on.
No, I forget. Did you say, would you have heard this one before? You heard Helloween song first, didn't you? You said.
Yeah. So I heard Part 1 first.
Oh, okay. Well, but I mean, I like them both pretty equally. I mean, they're probably supposed to be a double album anyway, right? They just didn't do that. So, but I mean, yes, because I really like Helloween. I also like Future World and whatever, but it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I was up for either one. I think I probably like both of them like the same pretty much. I think this one is a little longer than the first one by a few minutes anyway.
I mean, that makes sense. The title track is like 9 hours long?
Well, this one's 13. The Keep It the Seven Keys is 13 and a half minutes. And what was Halloween? It was probably also that, wasn't it?
Whatever it is, it's not long enough. I think it's like 9 minutes. It's still not long enough.
No, it's 13 minutes also.
Is it really? Still
Yes.
not long enough.
Well, they're not Venom.
Yeah, no one can be Venom.
Or Dream Theater, I guess you can call that too. Okay, one more before we get to the album. They've had 16 studio albums, and their last one was last year, right? Yes, I think it was one of my top ones for 2022 on the website, Metal Pit. There, it might have been number one. I think it was. I think it was number one for 2022 on the Metal Pit. Let's see. They have 14 gold albums, 6 platinum albums, and they have sold more than 10 million records worldwide. And they're at the fathers of power metal. Now, you said, like, I don't really listen to that much power metal either. Like, sometimes I pick a genre and I'll pick 1 or 2 bands from that genre, and that's it. Like, because all the bands that Zach mentioned, like Gamma Ray and Blind Guardian, I listen to Blind Guardian a little bit. But really, mostly I just go back to listen to Helloween, I guess, for the most part, in that kind of power metal. So let's get to the album, I guess. One thing I'll mention. Do you know the website setlist.fm where they tell you how many songs have been played in concert?
Oh, yes.
Well, I was looking at that, and according to that, how true it is, because it's people submitting concert lists, but they've played songs from this album 1,000 more times than they have any other album by Helloween.
Whoa.
And Keeper number 1 is the next album that's played the most, but they've played like over 1,000 songs more live.
Everybody agrees on number 2.
I guess.
Except you, Blake.
Yes, except me. So we'll get to the album. It starts off Invitation with just a little short music intros. We don't really have to talk about that song unless somebody needs to. It's only like a minute long. So let's talk about Eagle Fly Free. Who wants to talk about Eagle Fly Free?
Zach more than anyone.
I think Zach does.
Again, with me, this is like a whole subgenre encapsulated in 5 minutes. You've got the speed, you've got the twin guitars, you've got the super chanty choruses, you've got these sort of uplifting lyrics, and all that with some of the cleanest vocals you'll ever hear from Liquid Kiss. It's like, yeah, this is power metal. This is the entire like next 15 years of power metal all here in one song. The thing that I think really, or at least one of the things that makes this stand out for me in particular, is that Helloween can be a bit quirky with some of their lyrics, or maybe witty is a better word, because oftentimes what will happen in power metal is you'll get someone who's read a bunch of Tolkien and they'll start talking about elves and swords and wars. With here, there's like a legit one, like somewhat meditation on modern life, but then also some worries about what's going on. Like my brain always goes to, and we make our bombs atomic, or quite rather neutronic. Late 80s, this is the Cold War, worrying about atomic bombs, if not things worse than that. So to me, like the one, I enjoy the sort of the rhyme of that, but then two is like there is lurking behind the fun riffs is this slight worry about where things are. But again, this is just like the chorus is eminently singable. Personal opinion, but Kiss might be my favorite metal singer. So he's in like fine form, in excellent form here, and it's just, again, all that together, all-time classic.
So Kisuke's voice is genuinely an instrument. That's the thing with him. I know that he wrote a lot of the songs on this album as well. Like he's an excellent writer, but he is. So the funny thing, what I like about this song is that every single instrument has its own solo. like you get a bass solo, and obviously you get a guitar solo, and then you get a drum solo. But ultimately, Kisuke's voice is my favorite instrument on this entire album, and that's the thing that actually draws me to Helloween. Is undeniably one of the best voices across metal.
Now, do you think he sounds anything like Bruce Dickinson?
You know what's funny? One of my best friends, Carly, you better be listening to this. She is getting introduced to metal, and she loves Maiden, but strictly Dickinson era. I don't know what her beef with Deanna is, but knowing how much she likes Dickinson, I did show her Helloween, because I was like, I bet you, if you like Dickinson, you will like Kisuke. It's a good jump. And also, she is, and I mean this in a loving way, obviously, not a rude way, but she's a huge nerd as well. And power metal does have all of those themes that Zach just mentioned, like the, fantastical, like, elves and whatnot. So yeah, this was a good album for me to show her. I also made her listen to it again today.
Well, I know when somebody in my household that doesn't really listen to heavy metal, but I force it upon them. When I would play Helloween, she would always say, "Is that Iron Maiden?" I go, "No, it's not Iron Maiden." So, like, for someone that doesn't really listen to heavy metal, she hears Bruce Dickinson in his voice too.
I get it.
I mean, just like, and the music sometimes, like especially Eagle Fly Free. I keep thinking of Where Eagles Dare, even though it's not like that song. But it's like Flight of Icarus a little bit, I guess, kind of. Because it's Eagle Fly Free, but whatever. But okay. Yeah. Oh, and that song has been played by that website again. This song has been played the most live ever by any Helloween song, is this one. And they've played it 841 times.
That absolutely tracks.
Yeah.
Then we go to You Always Walk Alone. Okay, this isn't really one of my favorites. How about you guys? I'll let you go. Staicha.
Well, it's funny because it starts off, there's something about the opening melody that maybe it's just because you're coming down off of Eagle Fly Free, but for the first 20 seconds, I'm like, I don't know if I like this song. But by the time the chorus kicks in, I really, really do get into it. It's just I always have to wait a little to remember that I love it. I'm like, not this one. Oh, no, wait, I do like this one. But I know that this one for 100% for sure is another one that Kisuke did right. And I just think his vocal harmony is amazing. Zach, how do you feel coming down off of your favorite song?
Yeah, I'm gonna parrot a lot of what you just said. Yeah, it is. There is a weird dip where Eagle Fly Free is such high energy, is such a vibe, and then to come into this is just there's a natural ugh. But I do always end up, like you, I do always end up liking it. It's just when I think of Keeper, it's not a song that immediately comes to mind. And
that's fair.
And like I find like there's most of the album when you say Keeper 2 is like it's Eagle Fly Free, Dr. Steen, March of Time, Keeper. It's like a chunk of the album just is there. But You Always Walk Alone, it's like, oh yeah, it's there between Eagle Fly Free and Rise and Fall.
You know what? It might be my fourth favorite, if I'm being honest. Like, I think it might be my fourth favorite one on here.
Well, I like the song, but still, it's just, it's not one of my favorites. And they've played this song 16 times live.
Whoa, that's dismal.
I don't know what that means. I don't know necessarily. Well, you got, there's so many, there's other good songs on it, right? You got to play those. So it's kind of a weird number, actually. Now we're going to, Zach mentioned some quirky lyrics. Well, this song is full of quirky lyrics. Rise and Fall. And this song has like some sound effects. It has silly lyrics like Romeo loved his Juliet. The parents told him stop. Then it all turned peculiar. He couldn't get it up. And then you hear that little noise, that whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll let somebody else talk about the Queen and the chair thing.
Zach, that feels like all you.
Yeah, well, with me, funnily, Rise and Fall and Dr. Steen were the songs that maybe bounce off this initially, because I was not coming to power metal for comedy. At first I was just like, why are you making jokes? Just give me Eagle Fly Free again. But again, in the intervening years, we have Rise and Fall, and we'll get to Dr. Steen when we get to it. But I do love just like how funny these songs are. They never don't make me laugh. And like rhythmically, it's like instrumentally, like it's a fine song, but the lyrics just do make it just like, oh yeah, Rise and Fall, here we go. Yeah, this, and to me, this is one of the real defining things about Helloween, and in contrast to what will come with power metal later, is that a lot of the power metal that follows is deadly serious, and is very much like, yes, those choruses rock, but it's about, again, we're fighting a war and we're gonna kill the dragon. Ah! Whereas this is just 5 minutes of just the silliest lyrics you've ever heard. And I don't know if it's, sometimes I think like, is this a German thing? Is it just like German humor seeping its way into the lyrics? But yeah, it's one of the things I love about Helloween is that like they're never afraid to have a laugh either at themselves or at with the music they're making. And so I just love that these two songs are here, and then just they're having a laugh with just whatever they can slap in there.
I mean, that's a good way to think about it. I think the song is so corny. Like, I do like the chorus a lot, but the pre-chorus is the corniest thing ever. And like that weird laugh, like that in the beginning. I'm like, what the hell is happening?
I totally
it's better to just laugh with them, I guess.
And there's a sound of a cow in there near the end too. Not sure why.
Oh, well, Blake, what was that one? It was the Cradle of Filth album. Didn't you hear cows in that one?
Yeah.
I heard that. It was like a goat or something. And I was like, well, here's Blake's livestock that he was looking for in the Cradle of Filth album. You finally got it.
Yeah, well, we know this is, well, I think it's a cow, and it sounds like a cow to me anyway.
I thought it was a goat, but
and what did the Queen do with the chair, Staicha? Do you know?
What'd the Queen do with the chair, Zach? I said Zach's fielding this one.
Something sexually inappropriate.
There you
the
go.
feeling I get.
And I don't understand the point. The King of Los Angeles bought himself a teddy bear. Now, does this mean Los Angeles, United States, or is there Los Angeles in Germany?
No, I think they mean L.A., but the joke there is that I believe you hear a literal bear thereafter. So he bought himself a teddy bear and probably got mauled. So again, darkly humorous, but I laugh.
Now we get to, well, this is one of my favorites, Dr. Steen. And I think this song has been played the most live, second the most live after Eagle Fly Free. And this, of course, is, well, I think it's about Frankenstein, or it's about somebody like Dr. Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. So, Staicha, what do you think of Dr. Steen?
Oh, this is such a, I don't know if it's like in terms of all-time favorite Helloween songs, I think it would be like tied for second with another one on this album. But I love this. It's also one of the songs that I actually like play in the Hardy Hooligan. So in my restaurant, I don't play a ton of metal because a lot of people, I never play top 40s, but I don't want people to feel like it's an inaccessible space. But this is one of those songs that I'm like, I don't care, man. You love it. This song is so great. And if you don't like it, you're wrong. And it's another one that I can show to people, and they're like, yeah, this song is great. Like, it's catchy, but there's so much talent in it. There's an organ solo in it. Like, yeah, it's very much like, this is a song that will make people like Helloween, much like Eagle Fly Free. This thematically, though, I will say I'm a little more attached to, just because I like the Helloween. To me, I love when they, deep dive into being spooky.
I mean, having hell in the name is like, you can be spooky on when you want to be.
Yeah, right? Come on, man. You're like, live it up.
Yeah, and again, for me, this is just like them having fun. Like,
yeah,
just having a ball. Like, again, it always makes me laugh. The line about she had lovely hips, so he cloned her once or twice, and now his hips are hurting all the time. I was just like,
that's fantastic.
It always makes me laugh. It always makes me laugh. So it's just like the fact that you have Rise and Fall of Dr. Steen back to back. It's just like, again, many moons ago, this put me off of Helloween, but now it's just like, yeah, come on, give me the comedy songs. I want more of them.
I don't know why, but this particular comedy song, it hits me right. Like, it doesn't hit me in the way that I think it's corny, even though it probably is. I think it's just the kind of dork that I am. Because it's like, if it's spooky, it's the kind of dorky I can get behind real hard.
Yeah, that's one. I already said that's one of my favorite songs. And like we've already kind of mentioned, there's always these awesome solos, trade-offs with these guys, and like you say, everybody's doing solos sometimes. Not every song, maybe, but everybody always stands out when they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got a song that's only been played live 10 times. We Got the Right. Zach, what do you think of We Got the Right?
My least favorite song on the album.
This one you're talking about then?
Yeah, it's by and large I've sort of passed over it in the past, but the last couple times I've spun the album, it like it has none of the fun of Dr. Steen or Rise and Fall. It has none of the speed of March of Time or I Want Out. It's the closest thing I say that or call it that there's a dud in this album. It really doesn't do much for me, and it's like I don't skip songs on albums. I hit play and I let the whole thing go. It's damn close to being a skip to me. It really doesn't do anything for me.
Staicha.
Yeah, well, so I don't like slow songs on a good day. Even like, so my favorite bands, if they have a slow song, I'm like, yeah, that's enough for me. But like, I don't come to power metal for slow epic songs. Like that's not why I'm here at all. This is definitely like one of the 2 songs on here that I'm definitely not fussy about. Yeah, it's not even a bad song. It just is very much not for me.
Yeah, it's the closest thing, I guess, to a ballad, but it's not really a ballad. It's faster than a ballad, but it's not fast as the other great songs that are on the album. So yes, it's probably almost a skip for me too.
Swing and a miss, Helloween.
But then they recover with Save Us. And which is just, again, this is another, you guys have already said it before, where it's Helloween and you could play this for somebody, and this is Helloween, the song. So what do you think of this one, Staicha?
See, it's funny because, I mean, it's definitely, like, I get the appeal. The choir does nothing for me. But again, it's Michael Kieske's voice. It sucks me in. Like, just when I get super annoyed at the weird choir in the chorus, I'm like, but, listen to Kieske, get through it.
Zach?
Zach, is this one of your ballads?
I'm down with the Save Us. For some reason that the chorus actually hooks me. I'm just every time it's on, save us, save us. Like I always find myself just whispering along. Yeah, I have a great time with this. Again, I like the fact the speeds come back. I've actually got a couple note here that this feels like a little bit grittier, a little bit heavier than some of the stuff is on here. Just because you will get with power metal, sometimes the melody will overtake the quote unquote heaviness, and things can get real light. But for some reason, I think this one's like a little bit heavier. So yeah, I have a great time with Save Us. It's probably not my all-time favorite, not one of my all-time favorite tracks from the album, but I dig it a fair bit.
I get the appeal. Like, when I listen to it, I'm just like, I understand why people like it. Like, I 100% would show it to someone and be like, you'll probably like this.
Yes, it is one of my favorites on it. So quit bashing it, Staicha.
Fine, you get nothing but platitudes from here.
Well, I've been listening to that song since 1988. So. But, well, not every day or nothing. Anyway, then we go to March of Time, and now I'm just going to mention something, even though this might be cutting into one of what you were going to say, one of yous. But because usually I don't really pay too much attention to the lyrics. I mean, I pay attention to the lyrics, but it's easy to tell what the song is about. It's about how life flies by so fast, and now that I'm ancient, I can see how that goes. Okay, I'm not ancient, but whatever. And And I read a quote where some fan commented on a post somewhere saying he really loves the line, life's too short to cry, long enough to try. I'm not even sure I know what that means, but whatever. What do you think of this
All right.
song? Somebody jump in.
Yeah,
Zach, this is all you.
it was like lyrics like that, like as much as Halloween can be silly, like they can be serious as well. And it's not like this profoundly sad meditation on the passing of time, but like they do take note of it. In the middle of what is a very fast, very energetic song. Um, yeah, this is actually one of my favorite tracks off the album. Again, to me, that chorus in a sea of killer choruses, this is a really killer chorus. And yeah, like we're at breakneck speed, and yeah, they're being a bit more serious. That's a nice return to form from the silliness we had in Rise and Fall of Dr. Steen. So yeah, I really do like this song quite a bit. One of my favorites from the album.
Man, that's so funny. Like, I don't want to sound like a total buzzkill about it, but it's still not one of my favorites. The middle of the album just kind of dips for me. Okay, I will say that like party time guitar solo in it rips. I do love that. It's like one of my favorite solos on the album. But this song just, I don't know, there's something about it that I'm like, ugh, whatever.
You don't like serious songs.
You know what? Maybe that's it. Maybe we've touched on a theme.
But the lyrics of the song were good back then, and they still hold true today for people to. So that's at least it's a song that lyrics don't, because I'm not sure people would understand the queen in the chair thing these days.
Okay, I'm gonna stress, and I mean this so seriously. No one on this earth pays less attention to lyrics than I do. Like nobody on this earth. According to Spotify, I've listened to Countess Bathory by Venom over 500 times. Couldn't tell you a single lyric. I know it says Countess Bathory in the chorus. I can literally play it on guitar. Lyrics? I don't know. Something.
Well, I think I'm the same way about lyrics. Like when I'm doing these podcasts, I'll read and see, is there something interesting I can say about lyrics? Because back when I listened to it 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever, I might sing along, I might know all the words and sing, but I'm not really paying that close of attention to what they're saying.
I know the vocal harmony. Like that's the thing. I'm like, I know how the voice goes and I know the vocal, but like the specifics, I don't know. It's something.
But you can tell, like Zach said, this is more serious than like Rise and Fall.
I mean, again, it's oh well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to like I don't sit and listen to the lyrics as much.
Yeah.
I know that Dr. Steen is sillier.
But that's true. Okay, never mind. Okay, then we got I Want Out. Now, this is another one of my favorites on the album, probably because it's, fast and speedy again. This is another one where the lyrics, do you know what the lyrics mean on this one, Staicha?
Okay, I do, because this is the other song that is tied for second favorite. I love this song. This is like another one that's like one of my favorite. This is like one of my top 3 favorite power metal songs of all time. So there you go. My beef with this album has officially ended. We're back on top. I like this song very, very much. And yeah, it just, to me, it also though just has like a lot of classic metal elements in it. Like I would put this on like a mixed CD with like Skid Row and stuff. It's just a good roll down your car window and like scream it kind of song. It's actually, I think this is their most covered song. It's covered by everybody. Like Gamma Ray covers it, Unisonic, Sonata Arctica, Hammerfall covers it. Like everybody covers this song.
Zach, do you have anything to add about this one?
Not really. Yeah, just super catchy. My only real note is that to me it's a smidge slower than March of Time.
That's so wild. I want to listen to them back to back now, because like to me this is such a long-haired party song, and March of Time is just like a slog.
But
as soon as this is over, I'm listening to them again back to back.
There we go. But yeah, with my power metal, I do like the speed behind it. So if you gave me something real fast, and now you're coming to just a little bit off the gas. It's like, okay, I can feel that a little bit. But yeah, it's again, this is to me is another banger. It's another reason why Keeper 2 is so good.
Absolutely.
And this is like their fourth most played song live that they've done.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
that
we get
track.
to the really short song,
Yeah.
the title track, Keeper of the Seven Keys, which is 13 and a half minutes long. And who wants to do that one first?
Zach, this feels so you.
First note, they forget a key. They only do 6.
Oh.
But
So you're reading, you're studying the lyrics.
They hit 5 and then we're done. We're final key. It's like, what happened to the 6th key? This is
That's
strangely,
an attention to detail that I don't even know what to do with that. That feels like, has the internet discussed this?
On occasion, yes.
This has got to be a point of contention for hundreds of thousands of angry power metal dorks.
You
this feels like lore that is being left out to be ready to be attacked by people.
There are calls for fill in the missing key and Keeper of the Seven Keys. Yeah, it's strangely enough, this was another song I bounced off of initially. I thought it was way too long. But now I've really properly gotten behind it. It does slow down in the chorus a little bit, but there's still enough melody and hooks in here to shake a stick at. It is kind of funny to see a band called Helloween show their apparent Catholic heritage. This is all a song about defeating Satan, literal Lucifer.
Whoa. Oh, Blake, Satan, there you go.
There we go.
We made sure Satan made an appearance.
He's sitting here somewhere. But yeah, I struggled with it initially, but now it's to me it's sort of the power metal epic that all other power metal epics have to be measured against. I know we're not talking about Keeper 1, but I really like Helloween, but I think Keeper to me is slightly more interesting. But that might just be the whole. Here we're getting the proper full-on fantasy lyrics, which the rest of the power metal will pick up on and just run wild with. Because we've strangely kind of avoided a chunk of that, or at least the traditional Tolkien, elves, dwarves, and war lyrics that power metal is sort of known for. But yeah, strangely here it's weirdly about defeating Lucifer. So I know at least Wycath is Catholic. So take from that what you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do find it funny that the choruses do slow down a little bit. You're the keeper of the seven keys. Which, given that this has been power metal is tied on some levels to at least speed metal, and given how much I've been hammering on, I like the speed. It is to me just kind of funny that they slow down the choruses, but the speed's still there in the verses, and yeah, it's again, to me, it's the power metal epic that all of the power metal epics are measured against.
I mean, I'll fight forever about Helloween being the superior song, but again, it's just that's the kind of nerd I am. You can yell at me forever about Helloween, but I love this song. For a song that has so many slow parts, I genuinely do love it. It is the nerdiest thing that I've ever heard in my entire life. As soon as he says, put on your armor, I'm just I'm deceased. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard. It's I was, so again, Carly, I always joke that she's my metal girlfriend because she's, I make her listen to metal all the time and she's slowly finding stuff that she likes. And she made herself a playlist called Digestible Metal. But I'm always man, you would love power metal because it's so much of the stuff you like, and it is. I call it in particular. I was this is Lord of the Rings metal. That is what this is. But I kind of like all the twists and turns that it takes. Like just so the way it kind of, you know, starts off slow, but then it like really kicks in and you're like, you know what, whatever, I will put my armor on, I guess. And then it gets more, you know, dramatic and slower as it does that. And then you're just, I don't know, it's like 9 days later, you're still listening to the same song and you're like, hasn't this changed 400 times? But you're never really sick of it. It kicks in again and you're like, oh yeah, I remember why I like this song. And then it gets slow again and you're like, wait, am I still here? And then it kicks in again. And I just kind of like the runaround that this song gives you. But it also just like caps it perfectly. Like these first 2 albums is just like, ah, yeah, there you go. And that is why we are here for this dramatic elf dagger dungeon armor metal.
Well, this one has more like tempo changes, right, than Helloween did, I think. Helloween was mostly fast for the whole thing, really, I think.
Yeah, it was just awesome start to finish.
So this was more of a whatever, yeah, slowing it down and speeding it up and changing it up thing. Now, they've actually played this song more live than they have Helloween, which surprises me.
They they have, I saw them play it live and but I remember thinking like, damn, that's a bold choice. That's a long song. But but people are into it.
Yeah, and to me the funny thing is there is a shortened version of Helloween that I don't think they play that much, but there's a single version of it. There's no single version of Keeper of the Seven Keys. If you're playing that song, you're playing all 13 minutes, guys. Okay, we are committed.
I think again, like thematically, it only makes sense, right? Although I don't know, like there aren't even 7 keys in it apparently. I mean, so what's cutting out 2 more?
Well, I think the reason they had a shorter version of Helloween was for MTV and Much Music, so they could have a video because they didn't want to have a 13-minute video, I guess. And it would be hard to condense the song to 5 minutes because it changes so much. Where Helloween, you could just cut out 10 minutes of guitar solos or whatever it is. 10 minutes, but whatever. So that's actually the end of the original album, but they have extra songs or I guess B-sides of singles. I think we wanted to talk about that a little bit. I only have 3 listed here. There might be some live ones, but I didn't write those down. But there's Savage. Does anybody want to talk about the song Savage?
Oh, I will. I fucking love this song. Like I just think this is super fast, super fun. This is to me another one, it's another like I really love being that obnoxious asshole that has really loud music playing out of my car and like making it everybody else's problem. That's just a thing that I really enjoy, and this is one of those songs for that. Like it's a summer day and you're just blaring it out of your car. But just everything, like I love the guitar in it, I love the drums, and it's just super fast and perfect.
Yeah.
Zach, how do you feel about this one?
With me, like I quite like it, but this is, as much as we talk about Helloween being connected to sort of Maiden and being sort of both, I didn't mention the keys vocals, but even just their sound. This is the speed metal roots of power metal, of just flooring it and going as fast as you can, as hard as you can, which has come up a little bit in the rest of the album, but here like it's just distilled into like, hey, here's where power metal comes from, speed metal, go.
Yes.
So yeah, I have,
and it's amazing.
Yeah, I have a real good time with this song. I'm just curious like where it might have fit if they had thrown it on the album proper, but
ooh, like would it be in like or yeah, if it was like part 1 or part 2, which one it would fit better in?
Yeah. And even if say we restricted to Keeper 2, it's like where would you put it? Would you break up the comedy songs?
In the middle, because the middle sucks. The middle dips so much. Throw it in there. Throw it in there so I stop skipping the middle.
Well, we could have left. We got the right out and put.
I mean, I was gonna say,
take
that one out, put this one in, be fine.
You know what? Agreed.
But I think also, this song is more raw than the ones that are on the album, and I could see this one being on the Walls of Jericho album, just with the different singer, of course, because it was kind of handsome. Have you heard the Walls of Jericho? Have you listened to that album much?
Yes, yeah.
First one.
I was also going to say, though, just for posterity, Michael Kiske, if you're listening, I swear we do love your album. We're big fans.
Okay, then there's Living Ain't No Crime. I think, Zach, you wanted to talk about this song, didn't you?
Yes, because as much as Keeper of Seven Keys Part 2 is of a piece, this to me is like a weird precursor to where Helloween will go with their next album, Pink Bubbles Go Ape, where they really start moving away from, they start experimenting like outside of metal, like maybe rock, maybe pop a little bit. Because to me this is like a much like softer, much like more lifting song than is anywhere here on Keeper 2. And so it's just to me it's real curiosity that this is a B-side here, because Pink Bubbles Goes Ape won't come out for another 3 years, I think. So it's weird to see the genesis of kind of what will be the sound of that album here. And I just, to me, for some reason in particular, I love that they really get in the chorus, they get Keith, but then you got the rest of the band singing with him. To me, I don't know, I'm all about chanting at metal shows, so it's just like to have it in the song itself. Yes. But yeah, to me, it's like, whoa, like here's the next album just sitting on a B-side. But yeah, I quite like the song. I'm one of the strange people who quite like Pink Bubbles Go Ape and to a lesser extent Chameleon. But yeah.
See, this
I like
song
the song
reminds
too.
me.
Go ahead.
It just feels like if, I don't know, power metal went country. This is like a hillbilly campfire song.
Yeah.
But that being said, like I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Maybe it's the chanting I don't like. I'm here to be the naysayer, apparently.
And what about Don't Run for Cover? Does anybody have anything to say about that one? I don't even remember. I listened to it, but whatever.
As much as I talk about speed metal being the thing that bursts power metal, this actually kind of feels punky to me. Like the speed is there, but there's something else where it's like this doesn't feel straight metal to me. It feels like there's a little something else percolating in there. So yeah, to me to have what to my ear sounds punky, steeping in with my heavy metals. Ooh, that's kind of nice. To me, I also see probably why it was left off the album, but I like the track, and to hear that, it's like, ooh, that's something I haven't heard before in a while.
Yeah, I mean, I like the extra squealy guitars. But like to me, it's one of those things where I kind of think of it as pretty classic. Not like shouldn't be on the album, yeah, but I'd hear and be like, oh yeah, that's a cool Helloween song. It doesn't really stand out to me, but like I'd be psyched if I just like popped in, like if I just got a CD and there was a bonus track, I'd be like, sick. And like I said, especially on this one too, like forever Kisuke's voice is my favorite instrument. But yeah, it's another one where I'm like, yeah, I like it, but I always forget about it.
Okay, well, I think was that all the extra songs I think that we're going to talk about?
That's all of them.
Okay, so now we have to rate this album out of 10. Staicha, are you giving it like a 5? It's what it sounds like.
No. No, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 because I understand there's a lot of downs for me, but it does. And when I say like favorite power metal songs, I mean out of every band. So this has songs on it that I use as my example of why I love power metal, and there's 2 on one album, which is amazing. So I'm sticking with 8 out of 10.
Okay, Zach.
I'm a cheater when it comes to my ratings. If there's enough high highs, that will lift everything else up for me. So even though We Got the Right isn't a great song for me, I can't help but go 10. Just between, because to me it's like Eagle Fly Free, Rise and Fall, Dr. Steen, March of Time, Save Us, I Want Out, and Keeper of the Seven Keys are all classics to me. They're all just the best power metal you will hear essentially ever. So like again, it's technically not a perfect album because there is a song that doesn't do much for me, but the highs are so high that just like I have to go 10. Like this to me, this is the power metal album that all the power metal albums copy. So it's like,
oh, I get it, man. I did this when I was rating Venom. I gave black metal 10 out of 10 for the same reason. Like, I'm not crazy about Buried Alive, but I was like, who cares? Every other song is 500 out of 10. I'm grading this on a curve.
Buried Alive's the best song. Come on. Well, I'm giving this 9 out of 10, so we're all different. So that's good.
Yes.
Now, what about they have like, what did I say, 15 studio albums, 16 studio albums? Do you listen to the new albums, the ones from the last 10, 15 years, or are you listening to these older albums more?
I try with, prior to Kisk and Hansen coming back into the band, I've tried with the new stuff. There's always great songs on it, but they always end up being fine. Like, they're good, they're solid, they're respectable. Again, there's great songs on there, but they're not killer albums to me. Like, I get 5 or 6 songs in, and there's 2 songs I really like, and there's 4 songs that are solid, respectable, but they don't do anything for me. The exception to that is the self-titled album from 2 years ago. I think that's, with Kisk and Hansen back in the band, admittedly with 3 vocalists, 3 guitarists in the band, you would think it might get a little overcrowded, but I think the self-titled Helloween album is one of the finest power metal albums ever. I think it's like, it blows my mind how much I like that album. And to me, it has issues. It's probably a bit too long. It's 65 minutes in its regular edition. If you throw in bonus tracks, you can push that up to like 77. But Skyfall is great, and the opening like 4 tracks is just the best power metal I've heard in forever. Out for the Glory, Fear of the Fallen, Good Times, and Mass Pollution. Like, you can loop those 4 tracks, and I will never get tired. I am like over the moon on Helloween. It's like, if Keeper 2 is, say, their best album, and maybe Keeper 1's number 2, like, Helloween is pushing for like 3rd or 4th best Helloween album for me. I love that self-titled disc from 2 years ago. But everything else
imagine putting out a self-titled album like 35 years later.
Yeah. Again, 35 years later, with the 2 different vocalists you had, with three guitarists in your band now, and it actually being great.
Yeah, they're breaking every formula.
Exactly.
They just couldn't think of a title.
Yeah. They're like, you know what? We've named enough. We're done.
And what about you, Staicha? Do you listen to the other albums, or?
So I actually know more mid-era Helloween than I thought I did, because I feel like I was asked on my way to seeing Helloween, and I was like, no, it's mostly just, like the Keeper albums I play a lot, except for this and this and this and this. And then I was like, oh, wait, I know more mid-era Helloween than I kind of recognized that I did. And even when we were seeing it, there were songs that was like, oh, what's this? I'm like, oh, like, you don't know this song? But that being said, I feel like it's mid-era. I don't know anything recent. And not because I've been like actively ignoring it. I don't know why. It just has not come onto my radar. And it's probably just because I don't keep on top of power metal like as much as Zach does. It's, again, the power metal that I like is there's like 4 bands that I am into. I don't know though, after Zach's review, to be honest, I'm going to listen to that self-titled album for sure.
And what is your favorite? What would be your favorite Helloween album? I know it's hard because they have 16 albums or 15 albums, but is it one of the Keeper ones? Like, is it Staicha, I meant?
Oh, okay. So,
right.
Yeah, Keeper Part 2 is my favorite. I mean, it's the one I play the most.
Okay.
But I will say Keeper Part 1, it is a close second, but again, it's because Helloween is on there.
Well, my favorite album is actually Keeper of the 7 Keys, The Legacy.
Oh!
So if you haven't really listened to that, go listen to it, because I think it's an awesome album.
I have that on CD.
Yes.
I thought I had this, so I was listening to it on my way to work, and I was like, oh, I have Keeper Part 2, but that was the one that's in my car right now.
But yeah, so that's my favorite. But of course, Keeper 1 and 2. So that's like the army of darkness of Keeper of the Seven Keys albums. Because it's not
Fantastic.
called Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 3. It's called The Legacy. Whatever. Now, you mentioned live. Now, I've never seen them live. I wanted to see them live this recently, but I know you two both did. Was that the first time you've seen Helloween live and the only time, I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
for me, yes.
And so how
Blake,
was
you
the
were there in
show then?
spirit.
Yes, and I got a T-shirt from Staicha. And how was the live? How was the concert then?
Zach, how
Killer.
did you feel about it?
I was floored from start to finish. They are just as good live as, like, I've seen videos of them from the late 80s, from the mid 90s. They've still got it, despite being mostly mid 50s and early 60s-year-old men. Kiss can still sing his heart out. Andy's no slouch, and I was just jaw on the floor for the entire duration. They play for a solid 2 hours, which is nice because
I was gonna say they played forever, man. I was like, I am tired. Like, I don't know how you guys are going.
well, when you got 16 albums worth of stuff to cover,
I guess.
Now, did they play
They do this.
Halloween?
No,
But did they play
no, they did not.
Keeper though?
yeah, they played Keeper. Yeah,
They played Keeper.
yeah, they actually played most of Keeper 2. Eagle Fly Free,
Yeah.
Dr. Steen, I Want Out, Save Us, and Keeper in its entirety.
I loved well, first of all, Zach, you were right. They sound like a recording. Like it's crazy how good they sound live. When they just came out and did Forever and One, I was like, this is actually really lovely. Like both main singers just kind of sitting there on chairs singing, and I was like, this is amazing. And the big pumpkin that the drums were on, I was like, yep, this is fantastic. I already love this. I'd have been sold on this band just by walking in the door and looking at their set.
Yeah, they put on a show, and it's real good.
I also just I loved the venue, like everything about it. I was just like, this is a solid way to spend an evening.
That's good. Okay, now we're gonna finish with our. Hopefully, everybody did their homework here.
I did. I was so excited to do this.
Instead, sometimes we do the top 10 songs of the band, but I think that'd be pretty hard with Helloween. I'm thinking with the 16 albums. So I thought we would do the our top 10 favorite metal albums of 1988, which I've actually already done on the Injustice for All episode, but I'm assuming neither one of you have listened to that yet, so you won't know what my 10 are. But we'll start. Did Zach, did you do a top 10 list here?
Oh yeah, I've got 10 albums.
Okay, let's go with you first and start with your number 10. You don't have to talk a lot about each album. You can mention a little bit about it if you want, but we don't have to go in depth on each choice, but you can start at your number 10.
Gotcha. I have to say up front, I really, when it comes to metal, I really am a new wave of British heavy metal guy, and by extension, power metal and all flows out of that. So some of my list is pretty conservative. Some of it some of it will be a little bit unique. Number 10, Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force, Odyssey. If you're ever going to listen to Malmsteen, mid 80s to early 90s is the time to do it. After that, he pretty much loses his mind. But here he's got something resembling restraint going on, and he's writing actual songs. Number 9, X Japan, Vanishing Vision, a killer little speed metal outfit from Japan. They're better known for an album called Blue Blood, but this debut is pretty slick. Also got a great album cover. Look it up, kids. Number 8, Riot, Thundersteel. So this is the American side of power metal, and it just goes. Manowar put out an album this year, and it's okay. But if you want if you want your American power metal fix, I should say, Riot is the place to go. Number 7, Death, Leprosy. I'm really not a death metal guy, but this is Titanic. Like, this is just really, really, really good. Number 6, Testament, New World Order. This is the heyday of thrash metal.
Testament is sick.
Yeah, a couple of these guys had to be on here at the very least. They're new, but they're very good. Number 5, Danzig, the self-titled album. I love blues in my metal. That's what Danzig has given me. And like, I hate to say it, I know it's been mean to death, but Mother is just an all-time great song.
Yeah, it's hard to hate it.
Number 4, Maiden, Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. Maiden Going concept album. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Slayer, South of Heaven. Again, this is a big year for thrash, and this is. I sometimes forget how good these first 5 Slayer albums are, and then I throw them on again. It's, oh wait, they're very, very, very good.
I have way too much to say about that. We'll put a pin in that forever.
Number 2, Helloween, Keeper Part 2. Again, this is the power metal album. The band arguably at their creative peak. Again, just love it. And then number 1, again, despite my love for Helloween, I gotta go with Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime. I like my prog, I like my concept albums. This is the concept album of 1988. Like, yes, Seventh Son is real good, but I think Queensryche is just nailing every note of this album is great. So that's where I land.
Staicha, let's hear yours.
All right. I'm going to start by saying Testament is sick. And I love Iron Maiden, although I love earlier Maiden more. But man, 1988, what a ridiculously good year. This was tough. And Zach, I'm excited to say that you and I have next to no crossover, which also doesn't really surprise me. But I think that makes it really interesting. So at 10, I love Scorpions so much. So Savage Amusement by Scorpions is my number 10. Number 9, because how dare you, Zach, is Kings of Metal by Manowar. I love that album. That's another one of my car albums. Number 8, Recaputrefaction by Carcass. Carcass is sick. Number 7, so it's funny because I didn't put Danzig because I was like, that's not really metal. But for my number 7 is From Enslavement to Obliteration by Napalm Death, which is like more punk. Number 6, I'm on this really obnoxious kick right now where I'm just obsessed with the first 4 Metallica albums. And it's all I listen to. And Justice for All is my number 6. Keeper Part 2 is my number 5. Number 4, Eternal Nightmare by Violence. That band, this album is like one of the best thrash albums I've ever heard. I love this album. But topping that, number 3, because this is one of my favorite bands ever, is Bloodfire Death by Bathory. Number 2, Them, King Diamond. Blake, this better be on your top 10 list. And then number 1, because if you don't like Death, you can go to hell, is Leprosy by Death. That is an incredible album. And that is my top 10.
Yeah, I think I matched 2 of Zach's, I think, and maybe 3 of yours. Staicha, I forget. It's hard to keep track.
Nice.
But anyway, so my number 10. Now you're gonna find out I have a lot of thrash on here. Because that's just when I was getting into it. So number 10 was Tankard, The Morning After.
Nice.
You know Tankard?
Tankard.
Anybody? Number 9 is King Diamond, Them. So I'm safe.
I should hope so. Yep.
Number 8, I got Overkill's 3rd album, Under the Influence.
That was a hard one. I was like, oh, man, that was like my honorable mentions.
Number 7, I got Suicidal Tendencies with How Will I Laugh Tomorrow and I Can't Even Smile Today, with the longest album title ever. And 6, I have Slayer, South of Heaven. 5, Testament, The New Order. 4, I have Megadeth, So Far So Good, So What.
That was also in my honorable mentions. That was hard to leave out.
And then I got number 3 is Metallica and Justice for All. Number 2 which I'm happy to hear was on your list, Staicha, is Manowar, Kings of Metal.
Yes.
And my number one was this album, Helloween, Keep It Seven Keys Part 2.
Oh, that's amazing.
I had honorable mentions as in, Anthrax, Queensryche, Ozzy's album that year, Death Angel.
I also, yeah, but I love Ozzy's solo material from around this time. This was a tough one because I was like, there is a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, and I know I could make the list up tomorrow and be all different order probably, but whatever.
Yeah.
David Lee Roth had a good album that year too, but I forget which one it was. But
I know, I remember seeing that, and I'm like, honestly, so I love David Lee Roth. His solo stuff was not always my favorite, but I'm like, I don't care. I love him so much. He can still do no wrong.
I know Seventh Son was on Jason when we did this podcast, the 88 thing. He had Seventh Son high on his list. It might have been his number one. I forget. It was Metallica or that. So he really likes it, but I got sick of it, I guess, because I like the earlier Iron Maiden albums too.
Yeah. That's around the time when I'm like, it's a little too proggy for me.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. I guess we're done. We talked for a long time, I think, about an hour. So that's good. If anybody have anything to add before we leave?
Thanks so much for coming on, Zach. Thanks for letting me pick your brain about this. You really are like the person who I can talk to about power metal.
Just glad to be had. I had checked out your Venom video on the channel. And I was like,
oh yeah,
metal things going on in Hamilton. So I was like, how can I sneak my way on here? And then when I saw you at Helloween,
and then I just came to you.
Yep, exactly. It's just like, I can do Helloween episodes. Yeah, glad to be had. Glad to be here.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you both for joining me tonight. I'll just repeat. We're from the Metal Pit, www.themetalpit.org. Please check us out there, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And thanks for listening, and thanks, everybody. Goodbye.